design build industry. We bring together the top landscape design build companies and leaders from around the country and around the world to talk about how they're managing this COVID-19 experience, I'm going to call it, and to see what what they're doing in their businesses and how they're getting around it and how they're poising themselves for growth. So today I'm super excited. I have George Ocampo from El Paso, Texas here, Go Designs. He's with us. He's got, he's done some amazing work. I'm a huge fan of his design work and his work in general. He's won like 23 awards for his pool designs. He does pools, outdoor living spaces, even some inside stuff too in addition. So this guy's well-rounded, got a lot of fun things going on. So I want to introduce him. How you doing, Joe? Or George, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for jumping on board here. I happen to notice that you have a slogan that I'm curious about when I was doing some research before this. It was, "It's yours, but it's mine." So what does that exactly mean? It's yours, but it's mine.
Well, it's yours, but it's mine is a lot of times when you're having projects done, it's really like a job. Yeah. And so these guys are just there to do the job and get in and get out as fast as they can. And sometimes, try and build as cheap as they can. And so for me, it's I take every project on it as it's mine. So I'm not necessarily meeting my clients' expectations because usually they're not as high as mine. And so I'm all my guys, everybody that I hire, all the guys that work here, the mindset is that they've got to please me. So it's yours, but it's mine. And everybody that I've worked with, over the past 20 years, that know me, they know that I have really high expectations, and it's difficult to meet them. But if I don't strive for that, then it's mediocre. So I strive for, kind of like a perfection, knowing that I won't hit it, but I'll get pretty darn close. And all of our clients, they're like, it's more than what I thought it was going to be.
Good.
I've had a lot of them say a lot of really nice things.
That's how you create raving fans, right?
Hopefully, we're working on it still. I'm an older guy, so I'm still trying to catch up with this all the social media stuff and that stuff.
Absolutely. No, but I love that. I love that because, if you're going to your client with a punch list and they're like, yeah, everything looks great. You're like, nope, sorry, these 4 things have to change. And they see that kind of, focus you have on their project and that kind of, dedication to perfection. That speaks volumes, man. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, we're proactive. We have a saying also. It's inspect what you expect. So when we go walk through projects on a regular basis, we're not just walking through them like, oh, things are happening. We're looking at all the details. We're looking at subsurface. We're looking at finish workmanship. We're looking at, is our site clean? Is it messy? Does it need to be cleaned? We're looking at it, what needs to be ordered, what needs to be brought in. It's not just walking through and that's a lot of times what, when I first hire people, that's what they're doing, but after a while we're like, look, you got to think, it's not just, work's happening, because work happens, but it's not usually happening the way it should be. And so we're inspecting what we expect, and we catch all those things so that, we don't really have a punch through, we have a walk through,
I like that. No punch list. I like that.
Right.
That's really, really neat. Yeah, if all of us did that in this industry, how it would raise everybody's level and the expectation of what would happen. So that's really cool. So George, how'd you get into this business? How'd you get into outdoor living and construction, all that good stuff?
Outdoor living, I started because I was in the pool industry, and our clients were very happy with the installation process, the design, the workmanship, the finish out, the service, and they're like, hey, do you think you can do our patio? And for me, I looked at it like, well, everything's concrete or stone and steel and footings, foundations, and I'm like, well, why not? And so I started designing outdoor kitchens and pergolas, and I had a contractor who used to do them for me back in Dallas. But then I started thinking more about everything. It's not just 12 by 12 or 7x11. It's really about, are the posts in the way? How much span do you have before you upgrade your beams? How am I going to function, in these spaces? Do I have enough counter space for to place my food? Is it too crowded? Is there balance? It's all these things, and that's from the pool business. I was brought into the outdoor living business, and that's how I got into it.
That's really fun. So, and how many years have you been doing the pool business and outdoor living?
I'm in my 20th year.
Wow.
So for quite a long time. But I'm so happy that I'm in this industry. I didn't start in it, but I was brought into it, and it was just my thing.
What's your favorite part about this industry?
I guess that it's not boring. That it's everything's different. And matter of fact, I used to work for a big pool company in Plano. That's where I started, and the project manager, or one of the I forget what his job role was, but he would come into my office and he'd be like, why do you have to invent everything? Why can't you just do, the same thing? And it's like, we're custom, but are we really custom?
Yeah.
And so we weren't truly custom, but we were custom, which is a phenomenal company that I still, they're awesome. They're a great company. But they used to tell me, why do I have to reinvent the wheel? But for me, I feel like I had to. Everything's individualized, for architecture and lifestyle.
Yeah. And you want to add your own stamp to things too. You don't want it to look like everybody else's. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you can tell, when you go to projects, who was there before. You can see, okay,
yeah,
that's this guy, that's this guy, that's guy, and I'm sure that people can probably see my stuff too now that I've been here for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Dwayne's watching and Kyle's watching as well. And Dwayne says, can't wait for this one, meaning this interview, because George is the man.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah,
we owe a lot to Dwayne getting us on YouTube and social media.
Yeah, and he's the reason why we're talking. So
yeah, exactly.
So that's really, really cool. I really appreciate that. Andrea is also watching. So hi, Andrea. Thanks for tuning in. So what's your specialty, George? What's your thing? What do you do different than everybody?
I think that the difference is when I'm designing, I'm thinking not about the things. I'm not thinking about the fireplace. I'm not thinking about the outdoor kitchen as what they are. I'm thinking about how you move through them. The energy, the balance, the flow. It's really got to draw my clients out from the inside to the outside. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking about how things are planned out from when I'm inside the home to go outside, and then how do I move and how do I entertain? And so that's what I think is my main difference. When I finish these projects, my clients are like, George, we had a party, and you would not believe how people just moved. I didn't have to tell them to go, over here, or the adults over here, kids over here, hang out over here. Yeah. They just all moved, and it has to do with energy, and where somebody is going to be hanging out in front of the fireplace, or the outdoor kitchen, or the play area, or under the tree, or placing a blanket on the grass. There's it's all about how things feel, and that's kind of what I'm designing. I think that's different.
I love that. Yeah, it's it's so important to have clients realize early on that we aren't just designing a backyard with a pool deck or patio. We're designing the most awesome room of their house, right? And if it doesn't flow well, and if it's not comfortable, they're not going to engage it. So the level of thinking that goes in as designers that we put into these spaces to make sure that they'll do exactly that or more is really amazing.
Yeah, and that's what makes my job a little bit hard too at the same time, because a lot of the times when people are looking for outdoor living or landscaping, they're looking for a free estimate.
Yeah.
And then they talk to like 10 different people, and those people make decisions in 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. And tell them where everything's going to be and how inexpensive it is, and it's really not thought out at all.
Yep.
And it's a bad decision, but that's like the majority. Mm-hmm. So it's that's the downside.
It is those guys that show up in their trucks with the napkins ready to go. Right.
Mhm.
I guess that they're always going to be out there, and they serve a certain clientele. But
Right,
people that value our services are always going to find us, of course. But
right,
um,
correct.
so, tell us a little bit about your business model. Do you have crews in house? Do you subcontract? How does all that work?
Yeah, we have 6 employees in house, and then we subcontract to our labor guys and our masons, but they pretty much almost work for us exclusively
Okay.
because we keep them busy.
Mhm.
Some of the guys I've been working with, they've been working with us for about 8 years.
Mhm.
Some are 6 years, so they really understand, what my focus is as far as, picking up trash and closing gates and cleaning the patio off every day. We don't do it on a Friday. We do it on Friday, but we do it every day. And so they know, let's stop 30 minutes early and start, getting things cleaned up so people can, still use their space. And then on the weekend, of course, we clean up more, but that's where our people are, some in-house, some subcontracted, but we manage everything. We don't just drop guys off, and we hold everybody to a very high level of workmanship and service and delivery.
I can definitely tell by the pictures I've seen of your work that you definitely have a very high standard for what you're going
Right.
to be doing. So, I believe that the customer experience starts with the first shovel hitting the soil, and then, it ends up becoming the outdoor space. But if it absolutely sucked from the very beginning until they finally got the space they love, they would think about that, right? So we
Right.
need to make sure as designers that we're designing this experience for them as well, and picking the right people to be on that site and having that connection is super
And
important.
it really is an experience,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, it's almost like a show,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I would tell the guys, I'm like, they're watching, and they'd be like, whatever, they're not watching. And I'd get one of my projects I had, they were delivering some landscaping. There were some palm trees on the truck, and I'm out there telling one of my main guys, I'm like, you gotta keep clean. You got to know that everybody's watching you. And he's like, no. And I get a phone call from the homeowner, and they're like, hey, we didn't order palm trees. Not when they pulled up, and I'm like, I put him on speaker, and the guy's like, oh wow. And I'm like,
Turn
yeah,
around and wave, turn around and wave. They're watching you.
I said, yeah, I'm like, they're
Yeah.
always watching. I just, and you need to know that, because if you don't think that, that's you're making a bad choice. So that's a big deal, to for have them, know that the clients are there.
Absolutely. Especially now, right? During COVID, everybody's sitting in their house plastered to the windows.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, what are they doing?
Yeah. I feel like they're getting more value now because normally they'd just disappear for 8 hours to work, come home, and things would be done. But now they're watching the progress. And I've had some clients be like, you know what? That doesn't look level. So they run outside after the guys are gone and they put a level on it. It's perfect. You're like, it's an optical illusion. But we had the
Right.
check, right? So
Right.
it's
You're right.
very interesting.
And that's how we actually started on YouTube and stuff. Is one of our clients, JP Hayes. He says, he's the one client that can just stay home all the time,
Yeah.
and he's all like, I watched the whole thing,
Yeah.
and he's like, nobody does this. You need to let people know what you do, and it was cool.
That's really cool.
And matter of fact, we had an article on his project on USA Today. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't know. I love this.
Yeah, which was exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on a
And
national, kind of a national level.
no, absolutely. Now, do you guys work just in your El Paso area, or like how far out do you go from? And what is your area, the territory?
Well, from installation, it's West Texas, New Mexico. Design wise, I've got a couple of projects in California, back home in Dallas, where my friends are, that are in this business. We've consulted, different places like New York and of course Mexico, since we're close to Mexico.
Mhm.
So we get around. When it comes to design, we're flexible. Installation, of course, we can't go everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, George, who's your ideal client if you had to describe them?
I think it's the client that is looking for as their project as an investment. So for example, sometimes um, people are like, well, you're high end, but I'm really not. We just want to do a really good project. A lot of times, companies are looking for jobs. We're not looking for jobs. We're looking to be part of something. That's our perspective we don't think it's high end. We think it's just our clients are looking for somebody who's going to do what they say they're going to do, and do it well.
Yeah.
So we're not really looking for affluent clients. We're not looking for damaged clients. We're looking for people who are looking for something different, and understand that it's different, and it costs money.
Yeah. Do you have any secrets in how you get that message out through your marketing that you're different? Is it just the pictures because they're different of themselves, or do you have different tricks?
No, you know what? We haven't figured that out. It's some people look at our stuff and don't see value.
Yeah.
They don't believe that it costs what it costs. But they don't understand the materials or lumber, the differences of pine and cedar and limestone and flatstone and Arizona stone and Pennsylvania bluestone, and and there's a cost difference associated with all those, and of course, people don't know those things, and therefore they're like, how much of that costs? 30 grand, and we're like, no, it's like 80 or 90, their perception. I don't have the answer for that. We just continue to I would think, based on our images and pictures and marketing and reputation, and that it would be a no-brainer, but we always have to be selling, and not like always be closing selling, but always talk, represent our company.
Always help people buy what they want. That's your job.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're just helping.
That's it. Just help them get where they want to go. Just happen to be the conduit between the idea and the actual installation. You're the bridge between the two. So bring them through. So have you been lucky enough to be selling projects in the last few weeks? And if you have been through COVID here, how are you doing it?
Yeah, we contracted one yesterday, small project. We have some design projects that we've signed recently. We have, we had a week where it just kind of dropped off. But as far as action, we have a bunch of action, but that doesn't really equate to projects or designs. But we think that, but we are signing contracts, and we are continuing to stay busy.
Yeah. Do you feel like the clientele are buying the bigger pieces? Are they buying smaller pieces or smaller increments of bigger pieces? Like, what are you finding that they're biting on right now?
Yeah, I think it's still a mix. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it goes down to who we try to market to, so to speak, is people who are just looking for somebody to actually do what they say they're going to do. People that are looking to change their environments. Every time we finish a project, our clients, they're really happy. It affects their lives. They are smiling, they're floating. It's just it's an awesome sense to be around that. The way that we do things.
That's really great. I know there's really not much better award, if you will, we can get from a project than a client posting an awesome picture of their family in their backyard, the new backyard, on an evening by the fireplace or whatever it might be, right? And they put it on and just say, wow, we're so blessed to have this, and I don't need to acknowledge them. I just love looking at it and being like, you know what? It might have just been a space to some people, but no, this is an environment where they can bring these ideas, these memories, these times, and share them and bring them alive. And we have the opportunity to be able to provide that backdrop for them.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's an environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a business owner right now, what is the greatest challenge that you face?
I think uncertainty. I think that it really messed with everybody here in the office, their minds more than anything. Thinking that they're all going to get laid off, thinking that they're all going to lose their jobs, thinking that and then of course, as the owner, how do we make sure we have the revenue to keep everybody on, at the same time. And so, of course, we've laid the groundwork for the last 10 years so that no matter what's happening in the market, that we stay consistent. And it's taken a long time to get here, but it feels like that's where we are. And
Yeah.
even when I worked for a big company in Plano, the owner, I used to talk, we used to have lunch and stuff like that. And he would, and we had the market crashes of 2001, 2008. But, and we would always talk about how that doesn't really matter what's going on out there around us, because, we should stay so in front of everything that it doesn't affect us. And that's kind of how I feel. But it still messes with my mind. I have good days and bad days.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Especially when only 5-6 weeks ago we were watching a stock market ready to hit 30,000, sitting here thinking like, holy crap, how much longer is this wave going to go? Within a week?
Right.
Everything just came crumbling down. It was incredible. So yeah, it's definitely interesting times to own a business and to have employees right now, for sure.
Right.
Have you had any shutoffs or shutdowns in your areas or your area there in Texas? How has that been handled with with your business?
We do, like all the restaurants and movie theaters and salons. I haven't had a haircut in 8 weeks,
Me too. Getting
but
old.
yeah, I'm telling you, I'm like, geez. But construction, we actually, a lot of our clients, they're attorneys or doctors, and so one of them who wrote the mandate for the city, is our client, so I reached out to her, and she's like, we wrote it, George, you guys are good to go, construction, and I'll let you know otherwise, and so we're kind of in that mix, and we're able to, so it didn't really, it affected us from a standpoint as the phones stopped ringing for a week. But we still had projects, in the middle of construction, bunch of design work, which we still have, and so it didn't affect us as much, but it definitely affected us from a mental standpoint.
Absolutely. And have you had to lay anybody off on your team, or are you able to keep them all going?
Yeah, we kept everybody, and there's been some slow times where it's like, man, maybe I should, but I think that I'm looking at the long picture, and I think it's worth spending that money to keep everybody on, so when it does, when we do have a spurt, that we can handle that spurt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You definitely want to be prepared for and coiled up and ready, right? So you're all ready to go.
Yeah, and we do, we focus on, we do all jobs, small jobs, big jobs, but it's, a big job can take us 3 to 6 months.
Wow. Okay.
And so we'll have 13 people working on that job.
Yeah.
Stay busy.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any tricks to keep all these, we call them specialists or subcontractors, all kind of in order to keep that timeline for large projects kind of scrunched up? Do you have any secrets on how you make that happen?
It's one secret, and it's inspecting what you expect.
Okay.
So it's being on the job every day. I used to visit my projects 3 times a day when I first moved here, because it was different out here, and the guys would sit on the fence, if you let them, all day long.
Wow.
So I would show up, all those times, and they'd be like, "Oh man, we better get to work," and show up. They turn around, I'd be there again, and so again, it's we've kind of trained them to expect that, and I pass that on to our project managers. So our project managers are at our projects, daily, and most of the contractors that I know that work here or around, they're like, it's not cost effective to do that, and it's not by any means.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money to do that, but it prevents a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And everybody that I know, they're like, George, I would never do that. I would never go daily. It's not cost effective, and it's not.
Yeah.
But we're after the end result. We're after. It's like our prized possessions. It's yours, but it's mine.
Yeah. They're like your children at the end, right?
They are.
You take your time, you let them grow through the idea of the design, and then bring them through life, into life through adolescence, and then they're out on their own. But yeah, I hear you.
Our bigger projects, they don't happen, overnight.
Yeah.
Some of our projects are, people have taken 2 to 3 years to make a decision, but they're spending several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so it's understandable, but a lot of times that's not the mindset, and people are like, well, why can't they make a decision, in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks? It's just not that. It's not what we do. And it's not what those clients are looking to do. And so we understand that, and they know that we understand.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're not coming out to buy a widget or something for 2, 3, 5 grand, whatever. Like they can make a quick decision on that and be done. This is a
Right.
long-term thing. So, and we often ask them, like, is this your forever home? Because
Right.
people are going to engage that property very different than if they're only going to be there for 3 to 5 years, right? So,
Right.
a lot of information you need ahead of time to make good decisions when you're having that conversation, for sure.
That's one of the first things we ask our clients. How long do you plan on staying here?
Yeah.
Because if it's 3 to 5 years, we're probably not going to do anything for them.
No, of course not.
But when they say it's our lifelong home,
Yeah.
That's our client. Because it's an investment, and I always tell everybody, you can. It just gets more expensive the longer you wait.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be there for a lifelong time, the money you spend, if you wait for 10 more years, it's going to be twice as much.
Yeah.
So if you spend now, you're going to save a lot of money.
Yeah.
But and it's because I've been in it for 20 years. An average project used to be 35,000, back in 2000, and now an average project's 100 grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it used to be 100 grand back in 2003, depending on what you're doing.
Mhm.
But and it's a lot more, stuff that we're doing. We'll do a small landscape. It'll be in the upper teens, but then we'll do projects that are, 400, 500,000.
Yeah.
But we've done them in phases,
Yeah.
so, it's $1.2 million, but we'll do 130, and then we'll come back and do 250, and then we'll come back and then maybe we stop for a while and then
Mhm.
come back, 4 or 5 years later and do another 100,000.
That's the beautiful part about designing, isn't it? You can put the big picture
Right.
together, and if you have a client that's vested in the entire concept, they will find the money. They will find the
Yeah.
money fast too, because they really want it
Yeah.
to be done. So that's
Yeah.
really cool.
And it's really helping them. It sounds like it's a lot of money, but it's getting them what they want, and
Yeah.
it's done. It's going to last forever. We go to our projects that are 4 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old. We do maintenance, for our clients, so we get to see our stuff, flourish.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
Absolutely.
Everything's alive, everything's matured,
Mhm.
all the pavers, nothing's moved. We really overdo our installation.
That's really good. That's how you build a great reputation, George.
Yeah.
So that's important.
Working on it.
Yeah. Now, how did you learn how to sell? Like, did you go to school for sales? Did you learn on the street? Like, where does your sales background come from to build a company like this?
Yeah, I've been in sales, since I was a kid. Retail sales kind of a thing. Went to school, but didn't finish, and so I stayed in that market, and then I got into a different type of sales. So I've been to a lot of um, training, I guess you could say, but not necessarily the way that the outdoor living is done.
Mhm.
So I had to really change paths when I went into the pool industry, and of course, they didn't have a 3 months of training, and get out there and start selling,
Yeah.
but it was still, I had to change the process, and then over time, of course, I follow. Different people that are in sales, whether it's Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk or different mentors, they're saying the same stuff, but it's like more embedded, or something just kind of clicks. And so, we've changed our ways of doing everything, and good habits from when I was in Plano, but then even changing it into a different direction where, our homeowners make the decisions.
Mhm.
All we are presenters.
Yeah.
And then we're never closing, ever. We don't even call anybody back.
Yeah.
We put it out there, and then if they call us back, they do. Maybe that's not the best sales thing, but that's our system. And we kind of just go to the next and to the next, and then somebody calls us up and they're like, "Hey, we talked to you 6 months ago. We're ready to get started."
Yeah.
And then we're good to go.
It's important to understand our role in the entire sales process, right? We're the guides. We're guides in
Right.
this entire story. We guide our clients, again, with that bridge between the idea and the reality, but we guide them there. And as soon as we start becoming the hero in the situation, it becomes the wrong angle. Like our clients are the heroes, right? They're the ones that get to do all the work that they've done to save this money and to find this money to build this amazing space for their family. They get to be the ones that stand there and shine when they're done, not us. We just
That's exactly right.
yeah.
One of the guys that used to work for me, he has his own business now, and he's doing well here locally. But one time he was a little frustrated out in the field, and um, I called him his name, and I said, these people are paying your salary.
Yeah.
I said, you need to be appreciative, to them. And he's all like, you're right, and so
Yeah.
again, mindset and reminding, we have to stay within 3 times or more, on a regular basis to get it through.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, have you had much? Has there been much of an effect in this outbreak on your business? I know sales-wise, but in general, I know you're still working and still building stuff. But have you found anything else has been a major effect in your business because of COVID?
Well, mostly our time frame as far as from selling a design to finishing a design. Usually we are able to turn things around within about 21 days. But with, like I mentioned early on, is that it really affected our creativeness to really want to dive into the design. It was really weird. And it was like, I just wanted to, roll over and not really dive in. And so the focus was completely disturbed. And finally we've kind of come out of that, and we're catching up. And the next 2 weeks we have appointments every day. So I don't know how it really hasn't changed us, except for how we social distancing, and wearing masks. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of being a kid, kind of where we put a mask on and you're playing guns or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but so that's kind of the different things, but overall, thank God, we've stayed busy. We have projects on the go. We've got a bunch of appointments coming up, and of course, we're meeting outside unless it's an interior. And in that case, of course, whether it's outside or inside, we're wearing masks and gloves and sanitizing, and all those things.
That was my next question for you. If you're doing virtual meetings, if that's caught on for your business, or if it's been helpful at all, have you had any?
I'm not real comfortable on video, or even understanding how to turn this on sometimes.
Well, you're doing
the other guy, Pete, works for me. He's my main guy. He's really come through for what we are, but he's savvy with all these things, and so I'm really just emailing designs and talking on the phone and that type of thing.
That's really cool. So yeah, it's good to have somebody in the office. Those young guys, they know how to do all this stuff, right? We know how to do our craft, and they can figure out all the other pieces.
Yes.
That's really cool. So if you could give one piece of advice to other, design build professionals, what would it be?
I think the one of the important things is to give more than what you've sold. What happens is everybody starts, clients will make a change, and it costs more money, and everybody wants to, go back and ask for more, and that's another $300, or that's another $500, or that's $600, that's $1,200, and they spent quite a bit of money, and I think that when you're like, we'll take care of that for you.
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. So that's what I would do, is I would always give a little. We always give more than what we've sold, and it cost us money, but we think it's a good investment.
Well, if you figure out how much it costs you to acquire one paying client, and you figure you're going to give it to Facebook, you're going to give it to some advertisement, or you're going to give it back to the client. Say it's $1,000 a client, and you put $1,000 comes up as cost. You eat it. It's advertising, dude.
That's exactly the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I look at this that same way, but most companies, they don't look at it that way. I've done design work for a lot of other companies, and of course my name's at the bottom. I don't do it anymore, but I used to, and they would end up calling me, and they're like, "Hey, we didn't get this, or this died," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm just the designer in that. You need to call that company." Well, they don't return my phone calls. And I would call the owner, and I'd be like, why don't you just go replace that $24 tree?
Yeah.
If anything, it's going to make you the hero. but they would wait till the homeowner was threatening to be dissatisfied and then go out and do it. I'm like, why don't you just go do it right away?
Exactly.
And you're a hero, and so that's our approach. We're like, but we give a 1-year warranty on everything we install, plants included, and but we set up everything. We set up everything for success. So we have a very minute issue with plants dying. Hardscapes and structures, no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's really good because, yeah, I mean, so many. The same thing you just said. Like I see so many different designers or even design build contractors that go out and they say, no, we're not going to replace anything. Sorry, not a thing on this project is going to be done. That broke. Sucks to be you. It's like
Right.
all the money they spent, the rapport you've built with them, that hopefully they're telling all their neighbors and friends about how awesome you were to work with. Then to just not do that, it's like
Right.
I'm abandoning a ship, dude. Sorry, it's sinking.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's normal approach. That's the majority. And we had a recent issue come up, a project we did 5 years ago, and the transformer went out. And of course it's not under warranty.
Yeah.
But we went to go check it out, and in order to see if the lights were an issue, we had to change out the transformer. So we put a new one on, and the homeowner spent a lot of money, and 5 years ago, and we replaced like 6 light bulbs, and told her, we had to buy a new thing, if that one's out of warranty, and she wasn't really happy about that. And I just said, what, just that's okay, not a problem.
Yeah.
And went to the next thing. So most companies would be like, our warranty expired, 4 years ago, and it's going to cost you this much, and you better pay us. And it's just a bad. To me, it's all about the vibe as well.
Exactly.
We want a good energy, good vibes. So it's all like, cost me $400. Money's not everything.
I look at it this way, George. How would I want to be treated in that situation?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you can answer that question easily, then that's what you need to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to cost you money, but at the end of the day, you can sleep better. You did the right thing. And
that's everything we do.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the end of the day, you're like, this is awesome. They come over for a big party. After 5 years, that transformer burned out for light, and George came back and fixed it, even replaced bulbs for free.
Right.
This guy's in it to win it, man. He's in for the relationship. He doesn't care. The money was gone long years ago. You know what I mean? So it's huge. It's huge. I really hope that others listen to this and start changing the way they do things so that the whole industry can raise up as far as the level of credibility and of focus on really the client's experience throughout all of this.
Right.
Super important. So what positives do you see coming out of this COVID lockdown, or we'll call it the great pause?
I think, it's like, it's our approach, of course, with every project is to slow everybody down. And so this actually has done that, I think, by itself. And I think that by slowing everybody down, they can really think about, what they really, who they want to invest in, what they want to accomplish versus, we just want an outdoor kitchen, and build it cheap and fast. And we have a party coming up. Of course, there's no parties coming up. And so they're, really thinking, if this were to happen again, am I going to be prepared to be able to stay home and enjoy myself? And so I'm looking for a good quality product and stuff that's going to last, and a company that's got a great reputation that's going to stand behind everything that they design and build. And I think it's going to be, I think it's better for companies like, what we do. It may not be on the other side, but and I think that's what, like 2001, 2008. I think that did the same thing. Those situations caused everybody to not be in a hurry and make better decisions on who they spend their money with and their expectations.
No, absolutely. How do you think there are people who are sitting home now looking out in their backyard being like, yeah,
I know for a fact that's what they're doing. They're like, this is horrible. Call George.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what they're telling me. They're like, we did a project back in 2014, and all we did was a swimming pool and a pergola and deck. And we didn't, I wanted to do landscaping because it was so beautiful, but they're like, no, maxed out on our budget. And he called me 2 weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey, we're stuck at home. We want to finish the outdoor kitchen and the fireplace and the landscaping." So I'm meeting with him, I think next Friday.
Nice.
But yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Is they're like, "This sucks."
Yeah. And they said this could happen again, right? This whole COVID thing could pop back up again. So they better be prepared next time with all the cool stuff that they can hang around their own little oasis for, depending on the time of year, of course. But that's I think it's on the front of people's minds right now, which is going to be great for our industry. It's a matter of getting out of this lockdown in a lot of places so they can start building things again.
Right, and like I mentioned, we were, the 2020 started, like you would expect 2020 to start, and it feels like we're right back in that saddle, as far as prospects and what we've got set for appointments.
Yeah, that's great. I've been talking to other people, and I'm like, you know what? It's good that it happened when it did, time frame wise, because spring is always our busiest season, right? So even if we're at a 50% loss of clients, in the spring, it still feels busy. If this happened around the holidays and then we had like a 3-month slug, at least in Pennsylvania where it's cold and snowy usually, that's a long winter, especially when it's been going through this. So we really couldn't have picked, not that we did pick, but we couldn't have picked a better time for this to happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a good time anytime, but but early on, I guess, versus, in the heat of the summer or, stuff like that.
Absolutely. So do you have any other wisdom you'd like to bestow on our people watching and are going to watch this video long term? You have anything else you want to share?
I think that, again, from the outside in, a lot of people, look at what we're doing and think that we have it, we have it under control, that we know everything, and we don't, so some people are thinking like maybe they're the only ones who don't have it under control. But in reality, most of us don't have it under control. We're just keep on pushing forward. And I think that that's the key, for business owners, is to know that everybody's going through what everybody's going through together, and not to think that they're by themselves. Dwayne and I, we talk a lot, and we've had our ups and downs as far as business, and it seems like we're on the same playing field. When he's down, I'm down. When he's up, I'm up. And so you think if I didn't have him to talk to or other colleagues, I would think I'm by myself. And so I would say that I would say to reach out to people on social media that are mentors or people that are in your business, and connect with them and talk about things. I mean, there's a gentleman in Florida that I connected on LinkedIn, and we were talking about sales and business and what's going on and how he's doing, and it's just and I have a lot of feelers out there that are in the same business, and that makes you feel better knowing that either you're not by yourself, or they're going through the same thing you're going through. I think that's it. I think social media has made that a big deal. I mean, I have people, friends, so to speak, that I've never met, designers, in Austin, New York, Chicago, California, Florida, and I'm able to text them and say, hey, how you doing? What's that material? What's hot in your market? And and they can share that information. So I'd say, just everybody's afraid to reach out, and I think that they should reach out and get more connections, I guess you could say, not like a network, but people that you look up to, making yourself better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Nobody lives on an island, at least not realistically here. But some do, I suppose.
Majority.
Yeah. I guess that's sometimes the target, right? No, but having that connection to go through these same situations with others and find that they're managing the same things that you are is huge. Because as soon as you start thinking that you're the only one and it's your fault and you're the victim here, then everything changes as far as mindset goes. And once you realize that every other business is managing the same things you are, you're doing what most of them are doing as well, and you're getting the same result. It's not you, it's the market, it's this or that. You just got to figure out how to become more resourceful with what you have, right? And then you talk through it, and good connections are going to be very, very powerful in that and helping you through. And you might learn something, a little itty bitty piece, and it'll change everything. So
and that's exactly what's happened with me.
Yeah.
And I have a mentor here that I look up to. He's a little bit older than I am, and he's gone through everything because he's older than me. Yeah. and we'll have lunch together, and I'll tell him, my pros and my cons, and he'll be like, George, that's normal. I went through the, it'll pass.
Yep.
And sure enough, it passes. It's crazy busy, and then it's slow, and but again, if I didn't have him to go talk to, I'd be like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
But in reality, it's just normal.
No, it is. It is. We like to think as humans that all of our problems or thoughts or our limiting mindset is ours, right? Like we possess this. No one else in history has ever had my problem, right? That's
right.
That's the mentality. It's like, this is mine. And then all of a sudden you realize, no, George has the same problem. This guy has the same problem. This girl has the same problem. Like, we don't own any of this shit. This stuff just happens to own real estate in our head, but everyone's dealing with the same thing: fear of failure, fear of looking stupid, whatever it might be. Like, there's so many things that are ingrained in us as humans that are always there. People don't talk about them.
Right.
But when you start opening that can and start talking to people about this stuff, like, everybody struggles with the same stuff. The ones that look like they don't struggle with it is because they dealt with it. They faced it. And now they can move past it. That's the biggest thing. But realizing that they don't own that it's not their marking for their life, but that they're allowed to break out of that, because it's not something given to them. It's something that they created as their reality.
Right. But if you're not talking to anybody, then you're stuck.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
So that's what I would say.
So George, how do people find your amazing work, to take a look at what you're doing or follow you? Like, how do they find you on social media, or what's your best way to connect in case people want to?
I think Go Designs Inc. That's our company. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We have our own website that's really, really nice and informative. So they can even, I think my name, you can even Google that, and it's connected with our corporation. But that's we're kind of everywhere, but in a sense, people still don't know who we are, and so we're working towards that.
Absolutely. Well, George, thanks a million for being on today. I got a lot of great information from you. Hope everybody at home as well has also as well. If you guys are looking for a group to connect with in order to talk about things going on in your design build business, we have a great group. Yes Express has a private group that we have to do exactly that. So you guys can post things in there, questions, thoughts, comments, and we can all talk together as a group. The goal is to bring all the design build professionals from around the world into one space, so we can have one big conversation about how to help each other become better and push the industry forward, so we can keep delivering those amazing experiences, as George has alluded to, and raise the level that we can all accomplish in our market, and also be able to charge what we're worth and not have to fight that constant pushback. So if we all rise together, all boats rise, right? So when the tide comes in, so that's where we come together and do that. Yeah. So thanks again, George, for the interview today, and keep crushing it, man.
Okay, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep.
Bye.